Hello, my name is Emily Pendleton, and I'm with the Ball State University Student Athlete Support Services Office. Today I'm here to be your to present an online tutorial for all of our participants from around the U.S. on working with unmotivated college students, specifically college student athletes. As I previously said, today is a really unique opportunity because we have participants in this real-time tutorial from around the U.S., and so I'm really hoping we can have a lot of great discussion about this really important topic. So the first thing I want to talk about is Poll Everywhere. Today we are going to use Poll Everywhere as a way to discuss and communicate with each other, even though we are all in different locations. So what I would like everyone in the audience to do right now is get out their cell phone, and if you see in this bottom right here, I want you to type Emily Pendleton with a T 483 to 37607. So I'm going to give you guys a second to do that. What this is going to do is this is going to allow you to answer discussion questions that I post on our tutorial in the middle of our discussion, and that way I can comment and we can all have kind of a discussion around the answers that are submitted by everyone in the audience. So I'll give you guys about another 30 seconds to get out your phones. Make sure that you type the correct login code, which again is that EMILYPENDLET 483. And you're going to send that in a text message to the phone number 37607. You should receive a message that says something similar to what just popped onto your screen. You've joined Emily Pendleton's session. When you're ready to be done with Poll Everywhere, you just have to type leave and you will be done. So now that everyone's had a chance to do that, we're going to move on to our topic at hand. So today we're going to talk about motivation, specifically academic motivation. So what is motivation, academic motivation? What does that look like? A basic definition by Jenkins 2014 is the need or desire to do something. Motivation typically impacts our behavior. It gives our behavior direction. It tells us where we want to go, what we want to do. And academic motivation can be a really big factor that impacts college student success. Now we have our kind of interesting comic. This is our teacher, Professor Hill, trying to teach her students about motivation, talking about the differences between extrinsic, which would be external motivation, or intrinsic, internal motivation. Using the example of extrinsic motivation could be candy or prizes, and intrinsic would be the competence that a student gains or the self-esteem that a student gains from learning that knowledge. And we have our smart Alex student saying, Professor Hill, after a student eats the candy, does that make it intrinsic? I'm sure we've all worked with kind of smart Alex students like that as well. And so as we're going through this whole entire presentation, I'm going to ask you to think of examples of students that you've worked with and contribute that to this discussion. So kind of start that thought process right now as we go about our discussion. So my goal today is to teach everyone in the audience about 3 motivational theories and how you can use what those motivational theories are and how you can use them when interacting with your college student athletes. The 3 theories that I've chosen are attribution theory, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and goal orientation. There are many other motivational theories out there online, in books, etc. However, these are the 3 that I've chosen to center our discussion on today. The goal for this online tutorial is, like I said, for all participants, 1, to be able to leave, after our time here today, to be able to leave with an understanding of what the 3 motivational theories are, and understanding about how they can impact their student athletes' learning and experience in higher education, as well as I would like every participant to leave with at least 1 action item about how they can change or continue to grow how they work with their students in a positive way to help their student athletes gain academic motivation. I believe this is my last funny comic for the day, but we can see our lovely dad here talking to our student. Hey honey, I'm so proud of Charlie. I've never seen him work so hard on his homework. My talk on academic excellence is paying off. Mom comes in and says, yeah, that's his Christmas list. So I put this on here just to address the fact that motivation can come in a lot of different ways. Obviously, working in higher education, our goal is to help our students be academically motivated. However, if we're working with the population of student athletes, a lot of times they are motivated, but it's more motivation geared towards their athletic goals as opposed to necessarily their academic goals. So while we may be thinking about students that we would classify as not motivated, there are other spaces and other activities that they're involved in on campus where they may be showing high levels of motivation. So we need to keep that in mind as we're working with our students as well. So the first theory I want to talk about today is attribution theory. Bernard Weiner came up with this theory, and it says that attribution theory states that people interpret their success or failures based on 3 characteristics. So a student, as they go in to figure out an assignment, as they go in to accomplish an academic task, the results of that academic task, whether successful or failure, can be attributed to 3 kind of specific categories of reasons, right? So the first reason is internal or external, kind of similar to the first comic that I showed. Internal is that self, I'm attributing the goal or I'm attributing the success or failure of this assignment to myself and the time and the effort that I've put in. External would be the outside factors, a student blaming per se outside factors or attributing the success or failure of an assignment to an outside factor would be external. Stable or unstable. Stable means that this is something that's going to continue time after time after time. It's going to be a regularly occurring factor that contributes to a failure or success. And then unstable would be something that is not consistent. It's not going to happen regularly. It could happen at one point. It could happen at another point. It could attribute to success or failure, or it could not. And then the third main group of factors is controllable or uncontrollable. Controllable being a student can actually control what's happening in that situation. Uncontrollable would be having no control, i.e. I couldn't make it to the grocery store this afternoon because there was 10 feet of snow outside, so I couldn't get my car out. It is uncontrollable it is not ideal for me to be able to control the amount of snow on the ground. So we have this kind of handy dandy box down here. This gives us a bigger or a better picture of what how these 3 factor groups interact, right? So right here we have our internal. When a student attributes their success or failure to an internal stable goal, that means they're relying on their ability as a student. So they believe that they have talent. I'm a talented person. That's an internal factor, and it is stable. That talent isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The next one would be an internal factor that is unstable, and this could be effort. The reason people often don't think of this one as being kind of the ideal situation where you want your students. However, it is actually the ideal situation. We want our students to attribute their success or failure to an internal influence that is unstable, right? I can change my effort at any point. That way, if I'm successful in an assignment or a course, I know that that is due to my effort in that course, right? Which could not happen, or it could happen next semester as well. I'm in control of that, okay? If a student fails and they're attributing that failure to an internal unstable factor, then that student knows that they have the capacity to put in more effort. Because that is an unstable condition, they can change their effort level to increase their effort and hopefully next time around be more successful. The next, either of these boxes, this one or this one, has controllable and uncontrollable parts as well. So we move on to external, stable. This is the task is difficult. So an external source, usually a teacher, whoever is creating an assignment, is the person that they're attributing their success or failure to, right? The external force, the teacher, is always giving us extraordinarily hard exams. They are the external person that is responsible for my success or failure because of the level of difficulty that they are creating for each assignment. And this is something that's stable. This is not going to change when we're looking here. The last kind of box or category is external unstable, and this is attributed to luck, right? So an external force has granted you, congratulations students, you got lucky and you received an A on this paper, right? This is something that is unstable, that a student realizes will not happen all the time. Luck is not something that happens consistently, right? And then there's also controllable and uncontrollable options within these two boxes as well. So that is kind of a quick rundown of Bernard's attribution theory. Another part that you want to be aware of is the way that a person interprets their environment is typically to maintain a positive self-image. So most people, most of the time, will attempt to rationalize their success or failure in a way that still allows them to have a positive self-image. So that means that they may say, oh, this test was too hard. It's not my fault that I did not do well. I'm still an extraordinarily smart human being, right? So I'm still trying to keep up that positive self-image. So in the long game, when looking at your students and looking how they're attributing their successes or failures, keep in mind that they are always trying to kind of continue to have that positive self-image about themselves and their abilities as a student. So, just a general rundown of attribution theory. A person's perceptions of their success or failures will determine the amount of motivation or effort they will want to put into the same activity in the future. So, if a person attributes their success in something to their effort, they're going to continue to want to put in motivation for school for that activity in the future. So for example, if a student who maybe is studying for a health science exam is really putting in a lot of effort, putting in a lot of time to review that course material, they get back their grade and they find that they've been successful on this test, they are more likely to continue to put in that same effort and continue to strive for that same success throughout the remainder of the course and the remaining tests in that course. So that student is going to continue to have a high motivation. Okay, so this next part, we're going to move over to Poll Everywhere, and we're going to cover kind of these two basic questions. So the first question is, I want you to think about what combination of characteristics would need to be demonstrated by students for students to be the most persistent in academic tasks. So are they going to be internal or external, stable or unstable, and controllable or uncontrollable? We've gone over that just a couple seconds ago, so think back to what I just discussed and think about your answers. And then the second question we're going to address is, how do you currently see this play out in your interaction with students? What is their attribution? And then please give a specific example. So I'm going to swing over here to Poll Everywhere. Make sure everyone has their cell phone out. And I want you to really think about this first question. We've talked about it quite a bit, and let's see what your responses are. Just as a reminder, you're going to text your response to 37607. At the beginning of this presentation, we all should have been able to log on to Poll Everywhere via our phones. So if you are having an issue with that, look up Poll Everywhere's website. It should give you instructions for how to get back on that screen. So we'll give everyone a second to send in their responses. So I see that the first person has responded with saying that a student, the characteristics a student would like to display to make sure they're the most persistent in their academic tasks is internal, unstable, and controllable. That definitely seems correct. The remainder of the participants would, in this example, would continue to pop up their responses and be able to comment from wherever on the U.S. Obviously, for this course assignment, I'm the only one that's participating, and so if this were an actual online tutorial, multiple people would be responding at this moment, and we will be able to discuss their responses. So thank you everyone that contributed. We're going to move on to our next question. How do you currently see this play out in your interactions with students? Do they have internal or external attributions? Are they stable or unstable, controllable or uncontrollable? I'll give everyone about a minute or so to think